Welcome to 3 Minutes with Ark 2. I'm a radiological scientific officer, and this is our nuclear survival complex. This video is about Ark 2's commitment to radio. I am also an advanced ham. I'm going to tell you about the radio itself, and this is the prototype board of the radio. This is our second prototype. Now, this board, at the moment, these big things sticking up here are heat sinks, but in the production unit, these will be mounted on the outside on the cabinet. They won't be sticking up on the board. We had intended to have one board, but to get it into the cabinet, it turns out we're going to have to make this into two boards and put one on top of the other. I'll show you why that is. The reason why we're using this metal can is that it will act as a Faraday cage, and that will protect the radio from EMP. So this is the actual cabinet size box that will be the radio. The board is too big to fit in the can, so we're going to split the board into two parts. Now on the back end of the card, which will be the back end of the case, we have a couple connectors too. This is the connector for where the antenna fits on. And by the way, when the antenna comes, we'll just send it wrapped around the outside of the can. And this is the way we'll ship the antenna. At the other end of the card, the case, is where one plugs in their power supply just to a 12-volt battery, like a car battery would do. And so consequently, we have a car fuse right here on the card, because this is something one would be able to find and get easily from elsewhere. And speaking of antennas, I'll show you mine outside. It's how we just created an inexpensive antenna, like the one with the material like I'm sending you shipped around the can. Now there goes our antenna out over the screen, back out over through that box, and then finally here comes in our drop line. Coming in here to the house, and comes in through our window and finally to our radio and computer. See, the point of this is, it's nothing fancy one has to put up here up in the air or anything like that. 12 feet off the ground, 17 feet off the ground, it's cool. You just pull it up there. Well, okay, well, this right here is the rope that we just used to pull the antenna up into the, and tighten it up here. So we just use this rope here for that part right here. I'll show you the antenna in a moment. But we explain about the antennas in detail under the help menu on the program, so you can just pull that down and learn more detail about how to build the antenna. But this antenna then goes out from this tree out over here. Now, so then that's the antenna there going out there. There's a connector there to insulator, just hooking onto the wire that we pull it up. But that insulator on is actually the antenna, and it just goes out there. Well, there goes our antenna. It's going out over the screen. That's a pretty nifty thing that there's a stream running underneath it. But it just runs from the tree I showed you out to another. And from outside, we just run it through the house here. You can just see it. We don't do it as neat as many people would, but we get it on into the other room here. Well, this is the other end of the antenna that we strung out through the trees. It's come in here in the house, and we just hook it on the back of the radio. Bob and I have the two components for the new radio here in our, and Bob is holding what is called the exciter. The exciter generates the signal, and I'm holding the amplifier. We just had what is in his hand, and we're adding this to it. With the old system, we got out 3.5 watts.
Well, with the modifications we made to this, it's putting a little bit more than 4 watts of power, which proved to be good for the exciter board, but not for the amplifier board, because we were proceeding to blow transistors on a fairly regular basis. So had to attenuate the power from here. So in to the amplifier board. And with the new transistors, we're hoping to get upwards of 25 to 30 watts out total.
Here's the boards for the new radio. They're all working and functioning here right now. And this shows sort of the overall length of the boards. This is a piece right here is a connection to the test equipment. And but the whole of the radio are in these two parts right here.
Yeah, actually I'll put some power on the unit. And I don't know if you can see down here, we've got a power output indicator with all 5 lit. We have a total of 4 watts output with some of the modifications, and it's more than enough power to drive the amplifier. So the large black device here attenuates the signal by 50%. With too much power, I was actually blowing some of the devices over here. So at the moment, we're showing, approximately 4 watts output. And if we turn the amplifier on, we go up to about 18 watts output at that point in time. So the amplifier is keyed with audio tones going in, so it will give you an indication of the power that
this
is
is the
for it.
box that we will be shipping it in. And this box has inside of it a metal can. I'll just open it up here so that you can see it. It comes all padded and insulated. And this is the can. And the reason why we're using this metal can is that it will act as a Faraday cage, and that will protect the radio from EMP. And inside the can then will be the radio, and this is the actual cabinet size box that will be the radio. And so you can see that this board is too big to fit in the can, so we're going to split the board into 2 parts and tighten up how close the components are to each other in order to get it into this size box. So this box cabinet will fit inside the can for shipping. Now, as for the radio itself, it'll still have all the same parts and functions. This big light right here is a light that will be on the outside of the cabinet, and that light will be on when one is transmitting, and one changes from transmitting to receiving by flipping this switch right here. Change to receiving, then this light goes off. And this will be the front side of the radio case or cabinet. There's a little line of LEDs, and there's 5 of these LEDs. One lights the number of LEDs shown lit, shows what the strength of the transmitting signal is. One doesn't want to send too strong a signal or burn out the transmitter. So what we do is we try to get 3 of these LEDs lit at a time. Now, and no more than 3, I'm trying to say. You might want less if you're wanting persons receiving you fine. In between the light and the switch and the LEDs, there are 2 little connectors. And it's from these connectors that we run to the radio, to the computer, to the sound card on the computer. We run a wire from one of them to the speaker wire, where the speaker fits into the computer, and we run one to the other, to the transmitter. In addition to the antenna being wrapped around the can, there will be other materials that come in the box, and one of the main things will be a memory stick, which has on it the software for the computer to interface with the radio. Thank you for watching, and please remember that Ark 2 is not just about your survival. It's also about the reconstruction of society after doomsday.